The College Football Playoff Selection Committee has shown a preference for the Big Ten's top teams in the first rankings. With Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana all ranked in the top 8, it's evident the Big Ten is primed for 4 spots in the 12-team playoff. But with this setup, there are plenty of reactions and questions about the rankings. Eye test still rules the day. One of the most noticeable things about the rankings is the committee's love for the eye test. Texas ranks number 5 despite having vulnerabilities in its recent games against Georgia and Vanderbilt. The Longhorns boast impressive talent, but their strength of schedule isn't as muscular as that of other one-loss teams like Penn State and Tennessee. And then there's Indiana, undefeated with a weaker schedule, but the Hoosiers look dominant on the field. This eye test evaluation keeps them at number 8, and Indiana can still afford a loss at Ohio State and remain in the playoff hunt, as long as it's not a blowout. BYU snub and Big 12 struggles. BYU has been among the most consistent teams, but ranks lower than expected. Despite substantial victories over teams like SMU and Kansas State, the Cougars are stuck at number 9, behind teams like Texas and Indiana. The committee's reasoning for BYU's low ranking comes down to an eye test that didn't seem to favor the Cougars' style of play. Despite having a solid resume, including being one of only 2 teams to beat Kansas State, BYU's schedule strength doesn't quite match up to the teams ahead of them, even if their wins have been more convincing. If BYU doesn't win the Big 12, the conference could be looking at just one playoff bid. Big Ten and SEC dominate the playoff picture. The Big Ten and SEC are set up beautifully for 4 playoff bids each. With Ohio State and Indiana positioned well, a clash between them could result in one of them losing but still making the playoff due to early respect from the committee. The SEC, on the other hand, is a bit more crowded. 7 SEC teams sit in the top 16, and if Ole Miss upsets Georgia, the conference could have as many as 6 teams vying for playoff spots. The committee's job will be difficult as they'll have to decide which teams from these loaded conferences deserve a place. Boise State earns respect but still has work to do. Boise State finds itself at number 12, the highest ranking for a group of 5 team. While this is impressive, there's an argument that they could have been ranked higher. The Broncos have proven they belong in the conversation with quality wins over Washington State and UNLV, and a close loss to Oregon. If BYU slips and Boise State continues to win, they could position themselves for a first-round bye. However, as of now, the Broncos' ranking still leaves room for improvement. The cutline for at-large bids looking ahead to the rest of the season. The cutline for an at-large bid seems to be around number 16. If you're a Power 5 team ranked number 16 or higher, you're still in the mix for an at-large bid, but anything lower will likely require a conference championship to make it in. This leaves teams like Pittsburgh, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Clemson needing a solid finish to push for a playoff spot. With the playoff race heating, the rankings will shift, but the Big Ten's dominance, BYU's snub, and Boise State's potential will keep things interesting.